Welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today I put together an awesome video. It's talking about obsession. Now, for the word obsession has a totally different meaning with entrepreneurs than it does regular people, and not to you people. But what I mean is just that, like, you know, in our society, people tend to see the word obsession as being something negative. And for our entrepreneurs and successful people, obsession is a great thing. It usually is one of the key ingredients to helping us take ourselves to the top. And, you know, what I find is a struggle is that, like, a lot of people put the focus of the negative part of the word that, you know, you shouldn't get obsessed with something. You know, if you've got into that territory, then something's gone wrong, like you're addicted or you're doing something wrong. But I think obsession, to me personally, it's like a level of commitment. How committed are you to your goal? If you're not obsessed, then to me, you're kind of just putting your feet a little bit in the water. Guys who are really successful are obsessed. Like, it's you have to literally block everything else out of your life that's not important to you, and kind of go tunnel vision and be like, yo, this is the one thing that's important to me. So I think that, like, if you really value success in your life, you got to get into the mindset of being like, okay, it's okay to be obsessed with things as long as these obsessions are going to lead me to a positive place in my life. And so, like, you know, I like to give you guys a couple examples of things that kind of, I don't know, I guess irritate me, but, like, it's common examples of how people treat the word obsession the wrong way. But, like, if you think about something like, oh, you make the joke like, I'm obsessed with watching Game of Thrones. People aren't going to say shit to you if you watch like 7 seasons binge watching Game of Thrones. But the second, you know, you start working 60, 70 hours a week, you get obsessed with your job, obsessed with success, you're going to start getting comments from people like, oh, you need to slow down, you need to, you know, think about balance in your life, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I challenge you to find me somebody who's made like $100 or $200 million in their business career, who has a balanced life, who hasn't become obsessed with success, who hasn't really been like, you know, had to put everything aside for a moment or a little phase of their life just to be like, hey, I got to get this done. Like, this is all that counts in the next 6 months or a year or a few years. And I find like it's necessary. I mean, it sucks. Yeah, like everybody would like equal balance in their life and have all the free time to do everything they want. But in order to accomplish great things and accomplish hard things and goals that are like in the top 1%, you got to be obsessed. Like, Olympians are obsessed. You know, you think like some of the top athletes in the world, they're obsessed with training, becoming better, becoming, you know, the top of their sport or their craft. And so I think, like I said before, I think that obsession is like, it's a level of commitment. It's a level of passion. It's like, how much do you actually give a shit about this goal? Are you halfway committed? Are you partly committed? If you're obsessed, nothing else matters. It's like you're just gunning full throttle at whatever you're trying to accomplish. So one of the things that I would challenge you guys to do is to look at, like, you know, can you bring that level of focus into your life, into what you care about? Like, if your goal is to, you know, become, say, a restaurateur or like an athlete, are you willing to block everything else out and just get obsessed and be like, hey, this is the one thing I'm gonna do all day, every day until I'm at that level that I want to be at? So I think, you know, I'm trying to reprogram myself and those around me to try and think of obsession as a good thing. There's a lot of positive things you can get obsessed about. And I think as entrepreneurs, if you really want to be in the top 1%, you got to embrace being obsessed, and people are going to knock you for it. They're going to say you're too deep into your job or you care too much about your career, but you got to look at the end goal, man. Like, you don't see average people who aren't obsessed with their career doing amazing things. You see people who are obsessed with their career doing amazing things. So, you know, you kind of have to take whatever feedback you're getting, if it's negative, and put it through a filter and say, you know, like, where is this coming from? Has this person ever gotten obsessed with their job? Have they achieved what I'm trying to achieve? Because go talk to somebody who has hit that level of success that you're looking for and see if they've actually been obsessed with it, because I can almost guarantee you that they've been committed to that level of obsession and success, that they want that so bad. So yeah, I mean, that's just, I just want to put that out there for you guys to consider. It's been a strong motivator for me, and I think, like, you know, you should be proud of being obsessed with what you care about, your goals in life. And, you know, if people try and put you down or try and say like, hey man, like, you know, you should do something else or you could balance this out, you kind of got to be able to tell them like, hey, this is my goal. Like, I'm trying to crush this one thing, you know, I'm trying to be the number one, you know, athlete in this, you know, city or state, and that requires this much due diligence, this much training, this much obsession. Like, I'm going to perfect my craft, and that means I got to get obsessed with this. Because here's the bottom line: if somebody out there wants the same thing you want. And if that person's obsessed, they're gonna whoop your ass on that goal. They're not gonna wait for, you know, they're not gonna be half in, they're gonna be fully committed, and they're gonna be fully obsessed about whooping your ass. So if you don't care enough and the next person that is competing for your spot is obsessed, you're gonna lose to them, hands down, every time. All right, guys, so I'm going to give you a quick example of, you know, two people, like a scenario that, you know, where obsession versus non-obsession and what the outcome is going to be, right? So, for example, say you have two guys who are going to start a restaurant. You know, one is fully obsessed with the idea. This is all he's ever wanted, you know, wants to be the next Gordon Ramsay. And then you got somebody else who's half pot committed, wants to give it the average effort, isn't completely sure. The person who's obsessed, like the mentality that you go through is you block everything out and you start obsessing about the idea. And obsession means that translates to learning really fast, right? So you're going to be like, okay, how do I build the best restaurant in my city? So, you know, that person who's obsessed, like some of the stuff you'll start seeing them do is like, okay, I'm going to call up, like, you know, the 30 top restaurants in the city. I'm going to look on TripAdvisor, figure out who the top 30 restauranteurs are. I'm going to invite every single one of them out for coffee. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about running a restaurant. Next up, I'm going to figure out who else is in the category. Do I want to open a pizza shop, an Italian restaurant, whatever? Okay, is this Italian restaurant in LA is the best restaurant? I want to mimic something like this. You fly to LA, you meet the owner, you take notes about everything that's going down in the restaurant. Like, you start getting obsessed because success means the details. It means like you have to use that obsession to dig in and learn. And obsession is like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like, it's like putting NOS in a car, or like, you know, putting kerosene on top of a fire. It accelerates your learning so fast because you're just like, you know, instead of coming home one day and just like watching 2 hours of TV and doing other shit, you're just like, okay, I got home from work. Now I got 6 hours to fucking dive in. I'm gonna learn this, and this today about restaurants. And you're doing this every day. Like, if you're obsessed, you don't care about anything else. So, you know, like, you're putting in hours, and like by the end of the week, you've got a full, you know, chunk of information you can dig into. And slowly, as you compile this information and you go through the process of obsession about the subject that you're learning about, you become an expert. And then the time comes to open the doors to your restaurant, like, that whole phase of obsession has gotten you there faster, it's got you more equipped, and it's now your foundation to your success. Because the guy who's gonna go at this with the average approach, who hasn't called 30 restaurant owners to talk to them, hasn't flown to LA to visit some of the top restaurants, hasn't taken notes, hasn't like really made this their craft or like gotten obsessed about it, they're not gonna succeed like you. Because you're obsessed, they're average. They're just trying to put up a restaurant. You're trying to fucking demolish anybody in the Italian restaurant industry. So like, it's a whole different level of approach. And like I said, obsession is about commitment. It's your level of commitment to the idea, the goal, but it's also, it turns into a learning phase that, like, it gives you, by just blocking out all distractions, getting obsessed, it gives you the channel and the pipeline to pump in as much information and learn as fast as you can so you can really crush it. And so I honestly think that, like, if you're not obsessed, then you're not committed. Just don't do it in the first place, right? So just an idea for you guys to take away. Like I said, I'm going to be building this YouTube channel up. I hope everybody gets value out of this. So if you guys have any questions about entrepreneurship, most of my business stuff is, I have a transportation company and I'm also in the internet marketing space. Leave me a question below or ask any questions you have. I'll try and help you out as much as I can. And also subscribe to the channel. I hope to build this up and give as many people as much value as possible. Hope you guys enjoyed this first video.